I really like to think of protein first, eat protein first. That's my mantra. 1 gram per pound of target body weight here. 0.7 grams is your least, and I'd rather have you err on the higher side, especially at breakfast. Think of protein, fat, and fiber as my satiety trifecta. Remember, protein and fiber slow down stomach emptying. They help your body release GLP-1 that helps with satiety. And then fiber also triggers the release of some chemicals to tell your brain you're not hungry. So I like this little protein, fat, and fiber trifecta, with protein being the star of the show. So what are some different options? One of them is a smoothie. I have 2 different protein powders that I use in Reignite Wellness, either a plant-based or a bone broth-based. And so I will do those, and I do scoops to get up to 30 grams. And then I'll add more into the smoothie. Like I like to use Good Karma flax milk that's got added protein. I'll use some chia or some flax seeds in there. Usually a little bit. If I'm not doing the seeds, I'll do a little avocado and then some berries. So you can easily get yourself up to 40 grams of protein doing that. Another thing that I'll do with protein powder is I will add it into Greek style yogurt. So if you can tolerate dairy, I personally like to use fat-free Greek style yogurt plain, and then I will add in some chia or some freshly ground flaxseed, or stir in a little nut butter. And so that's what I like to do. Sometimes I will go a little crazy and top it with Catalina Crunch, which is a high protein, high fiber cereal. Yep. And a little bit of dark chocolate. I admit it. That's the way I like to make a parfait. And that, again, if you're not dairy intolerant, as I talk about in the Virgin Diet. And then also there is the way I like to do omelets is usually 2 eggs and 6 egg whites, because otherwise you're going to go overboard on fat. So I like to do 2 eggs, 6 egg whites, and throw in some spinach and some mushrooms. That's my ultimate favorite. Maybe a little bit of feta and some sea salt, yum. You can also make an oatmeal, use that Good Karma flax milk, use some of my protein powder in there, and add a little bit of chia. And that's good. Or you can make some overnight oats with protein powder and have a side of an egg or 2. And again, since you're using an app like Cronometer, that's my favorite one. If you're using an app, and I'll put the link to the app in the show notes, then you're tracking. Because you're using a food scale, you're actually paying attention. You'll see and you'll know exactly how much you're getting. And the cool thing with the food scale is it also tracks to make sure that you're getting enough of leucine. And leucine is the essential amino acid that really is important for triggering muscle protein synthesis. So that's an easy way to do that. Again, that's why you can also use essential amino acids as needed. I use my amino acid power from Reignite Wellness to get yourself up to where you need to be. You can also have leftovers. I don't know why it is. I lived in Japan for a while. I helped bring aerobics to Japan back in the 80s. And we did not eat breakfast for breakfast. I mean, it was their breakfast, but I remember it distinctly. I was living in the small town, Kochi, and it was white rice, dried fish, I kid you not, and eggs. But a lot of the breakfast foods that we would have were not breakfast. We would have a salad, it's that type of stuff. So you don't have to eat breakfast food for breakfast. In fact, one of my favorite ways to do oatmeal is to do a little bit of oatmeal with bone broth, and then add in some of my collagen powder, and then put in some mushrooms and some meat. And that is actually delicious. And I would never have thought about that. But back when Dr. Oz was doing his show, they had me on the air doing savory oatmeals. And I'm like, this is the most amazing thing ever. I never thought of it. But again, the easiest of all, of course, are smoothies. And I will link to my loaded smoothie free guidebook that you can get. And in there, there's a little $20 off coupon for the store too. So you can get started with smoothies. So there, you can make it easy, easy.